You don't ever imagine that you're going to hear those words through tears and, oh my, what does this mean? It was a difficult day. My name is Lorraine Cragen, and I am a breast cancer survivor. Well, as one of the owners of Visualutions, we were busy. We were always busy. I worked all the time. We were working out. We were, doing things to try to get to a healthy place. But we didn't quite know I was at an unhealthy place either. My journey started in September of 2016 when, that day when you just get that call from the doctor that says, you need to come in because I need to talk to you. And you knew you were waiting on results for tests that had already been done. And that's never a good indication. So the first one who delivered that information to me was my gynecologist, because she's the one that had found this suspicious form that she had felt. And so she's the one that got to deliver the news that said that it had come back positive for cancer. So that day was a challenging one because you're just not what you're expecting. Of course, there were a ton of questions at that point because you don't know what that means. You don't know how big or little or far or long it is. I mean, just all the things, because when somebody says you have breast cancer, then they say, well, what stage is it? What does that mean for you? And on that initial day, you don't know any of those things. So she referred us to a surgeon. So as we learned, my cancer is called invasive ductal carcinoma. But they thought the cancer was small when they first found it. They thought, we'll go in, we'll just do a lumpectomy, take it out, it's little, you probably won't have to have chemo, we'll do some radiation just to make sure it'll be fine and easy. But it didn't work out that way. My tumor, as you would call it, although it wasn't a very pretty ball or mass like most people think about when you have cancer. Oh, it's like this. No, mine wasn't. They called mine lobular. And one doctor that we talked to referred to it as like weeds, that it was just very branch outy. And so it wasn't real formed, but it was over 6 centimeters. So at that point, they call it a large tumor. At that point, chemo was no longer an option, but a mandatory part of my treatment. And I didn't really want to do that. Late October, we started my chemo journey. That was a total of 20 weeks. Took us through late October into the first week of March, and March 2017. And Joe was with me the whole way. I was not allowed to go to chemo by myself. He is the one who primarily went with me. If he was out of town once or twice, then Becca would go, our daughter, or my brother Greg went with me one day when there were just other things going on. So I never went by myself. I never felt alone in the journey. Chemo does what you had not really wanted to do. Probably one of the harder days was when you lose your hair. And I did. We tried to plan that one. My niece was getting married, and I didn't want her wedding pictures to have me without any hair. So she got married just not quite 2 weeks after I started my first treatment. And they told me that the hair loss, because of the drugs that I was taking, would happen between day 14 and day 19. And they were pretty much on target. You don't expect that. That's a a shock to see yourself like that. And so we went through chemo. I started wearing, I didn't want everybody to see me without any hair. I would stay at home and not wear anything, but I'd wear a little turban on my head, and we wore hats. I wore hats, and Becca thought that was cute because she had been a hat person also. So we just did that. So we got through chemo, and we got through surgery, the first surgery where they did the lumpectomy. And you're just hoping and praying that, okay, we got it all and we're good. We're going to just go on from here. But that wasn't the case. The pathology reports that came back for the tissue that was tested indicated no clear margins at all, not anywhere, for the sections that they had taken out. So we moved from breast conservation mode to we don't have a choice at this point but to do a mastectomy, to do a total removal. But Dr. Sutton had agreed that before we did that, months before, that we needed to take a trip. And so we had planned a trip to Hawaii, and we did that. We went, we had time there. At this point, we're in the middle of May or so for 17, and my hair started to grow back a little bit. Not a whole lot, but I had a little bit of fuzz up there and quite all over the head, although it was really funny that it came back in this part of my head first. The top didn't come in until later. But we decided when I got to Hawaii that I would just get rid of the caps and my hats, and it's like, it just is what it is. And so we came home from there late May, and I haven't put a cap back on. So it's changed and it's grown. Anyway, so we got home. We were here maybe a week or so. I had the surgery where we did a mastectomy of the right breast, which is where the cancer was, and they got it all. So as of May 28th of 2017, my cancer is gone, and I am cancer-free. There are huge survival rates for early diagnosis of breast cancer. So you need to cry, and you need to work through the emotional part of, I really don't want to do this. There were a lot of times I said that. I don't want to do chemo, and then you figure out how you're stronger. You're strong enough to get through it because that's what you need to get done. Because you can survive. Breast cancer has a huge survival rate for it through the treatments that they know work, and further treatments that are being researched to make things be different. It can be beat, and you need to just stand strong for knowing that and fighting your way through that.